Spires of Magic, Rise of Spider-Man, Seeds of the Past, Part 1. Looking around aimlessly, Pierre pointed his hoof at himself and raised his brow. Are you talking about me? Sleepy Belle stepped inside before she stepped next to Pierre's flank. The other two fillies followed, gasping aloud at the blank sight. One of the fillies, her coat as bright as the sun in the sky, rushed over to the side of Pierre's flank. Her chocolate brown eyes only grew and whiffed. The last filly, her coat matching a shade of orange, closed her violet eyes and nodded her head. He's got a blank flank for sure, she said, causing Pierre's face flush slightly. Great, so kids expecting my butt isn't enough. Now they have to insult it? I feel so violated. The other filly's fiery red mane emerged from behind Pierre. Hello, did you say you want Sleepy Belle? He's, Sleepy Belle droned off, placing her hoof under her chin. 19, Pierre said blankly. The orange filly furrowed her brow. If you're that old, why haven't you earned your cutie mark yet? Why indeed did he not have a cutie mark, something some pony had in this world? The answer was simple. He was an alien pulled from another world, but the kind of explanation was too far-fetched to the common individual. His knowledge of cutie marks being significantly limited, Pierre turned his gaze back inside the house. Oh man, too bad Starlight wasn't invented yet. They could use that as an excuse. Twilight! Could you come down here for a second? He said, hopeful his roommate could provide a decent enough answer. An exasperated groan echoed from upstairs. Peter, if you're trying to weasel out of practice, you got another thing. Twilight said with a hint of irritation in her voice, but it dissipated, along with the glare in her eyes, once he made it downstairs and noticed the three fillies surrounding her. Oh, hi, girls! What can I help you with? She said, her tone now a sweet tone. Peter sighed inwardly. The girls were a puzzle in any world. Sleepy Belle pointed her hoof at Peter's flank, causing his face to flush once more. It's about your friend. Why doesn't he have a cutie mark? Actually, Twilight said before she paused to furrow her brow at Peter. She just she was at a loss for words. She threw her hoof over her mouth and cleared her throat. Ahem. Peter has many talents, just like all of you, but he hasn't found his one true talent yet. A pitiful chuckle escaped from Peter's mouth. Many talents? Who are you kidding? Twilight shook her head and hefted her gaze from fillies to Peter. Just realized something. Do you even know who these girls are, Peter? Shrugging his shoulders, Peter raised his hoof and pointed over at the snow-white filly's lavender-colored head. I just met Sleepy Belle while I was at Rarities, but the other two are newcomers for me. Oh, did you see it then? Twilight said, walk over to the yellow filly. This is Apple Bloom, Applejack's little sister, she said, turning her gaze to the third filly. And this is Skidaloo, a friend from their school. Well, aren't you just the cutest things? He said honestly before a groan echoed his head. Why is everything in the world so dark cute? Late realization came into mind, pausing Pierre to fire at the filly's puzzled expression. I had to ask, what do you want with me? As she made her way to his side, Apple Bloom gazed up at Pierre. Ainsley, you don't have a cutie mark, she said bluntly. Pierre's eyes grew blank. And I guess you're here to make fun of me? It'll be like my old preschool days. Elementary school wasn't much different. Middle school was just as bad, and don't get me started on high school. Now think about it, college was exactly the same too. Guess I'm just a subject of ridicule to this day. He shook his head and shrugged his shoulders. I'm sorry, I was rambling. You were making fun of me? Go right ahead. Okay. Vic? I was okay with the Peter being sullen and being downtrodden for a little bit when it came to his failings. Now you're pushing it! Evelyn stared at Pierre, unsure what to make of his ramble. Me either! But she recalculated her senses and shook her head. Her expression turned apologetic. We won't make fun of you. Of course not! Skidaloo said as her hers curled with a confident smile. After all, you're just like us. Her statement caused Peter to tilt his head to the side. Just like you. How? Because you're exactly like us! Sleepy Belle said, hovering to Pierre's line of sight until her eyes only a couple inches away from his own. A bead of sweat rolled down his cheek. I heard you before, but can you tell me how exactly? After a few moments, Sleepy Belle stopped bouncing and turned her gaze to her wagging tail. We don't have our cutie marks either. Peter's eyes widened in a statement. He was not the only one looking for his cutie mark. Twilight had told him that every pony owns their cutie mark eventually, but it was unnerving for Peter since it seemed that every pony he saw already had their mark. Turning to the side, he found Apple Bloom and Skidaloo with their flanks facing him, and just like Sleepy Belle's, they too were blank. We're the cutie mark crusaders, Skidaloo said with vigor in her voice. We're gonna earn our cutie marks too. Applewood said, stepping in front of Skidoo. Sleepbell bent frank in front of Pierre. And Verily headbutting him in the process. On face, he giggled. Since you don't have one, we want you to join our team. A stinging sensation circled around his forehead. He placed his hoof on his horn and received no response. But his hoof landed between his eyebrows. He winced in pain at the newly formed knot. It wasn't a hot enough sight. Now he was a two-horned unicorn. Thank God you're not a tri-horned. Great, he sarcastically said, unaware the conversation was roped in. That's awesome! Since you hang out with Rainbow Dash, I'm sure your cutie mark will be something cool, Skidoo said, snapping Pierre was trance. Wait, what, did I agree? Your sister and my sisters! Maybe it'll be something pretty and cute. Sleepbell squeaked, causing Pierre to raise his brow. Pretty? What? Can someone... God! Somepony! Rewind and tell me what was said 2 seconds ago. The headbutt kind not to be silly for a moment. For answers on both, love is like rainbow dances and paradise, Evelyn said, oblivious to Pierre's statement. Okay, we're going to take a few steps back in. Love Twilight's mixed in there too. You listen there, right? Skidoo said, casting Pierre's eye to twist. Seriously, what are you talking about? If you can't tell what Twilight the most, maybe you'll be like her the most, Sleepbell said, prompting Pierre to slap his forehead. Oh my God. Is this what it's like when I talk to the bad guys? I feel like I'm losing my mind. I almost feel bad for talking Dr. Octopus and Vulture to death now. What? No, I don't. They found me annoying because they listened to me. Right now, I'm just being ignored. That's a different level of annoying. It's almost annoying all the times being ignored by a girl. Yeah, I remind you of last episode? That happens enough in my life. I don't need a triple thanks to these little ones. Does he agree, Pierre? Sleepbell said, unknowingly piercing Pierre's inner monologue. Pierre, still in his trance somewhat, murmured, yeah, totally. Oh, right! Skidoo jumped, flapping her wings helplessly as he landed back on the ground. His eyes shot open. Oh, crud. Not again! He raised himself to hold every pony's attention. What just happened? Sleepbell's smile grew. We just not need you to become the leader of the Key Maker Singers. His jaw dropped. What? Apple blew and rushed over and giggled. I get excited! His eye twisted. What? Before he could halt to protest, Apple Bloom made her way to the door. If everything is settled, I say we go to the park. Sounds like a plan, Skidoo said, following the filly outside. Pierre stood slack-jawed. So much had happened, he could not recollect any of it. He turned to Sleepbell, desperate he could be the one strand of sanity in the world of madness he was trapped in. So he only smiled and gently placed her tiny hoof on top of his mildly larger one. We'll find you as something comes out, she said sweetly, turning to make her exit right after. See you later, Captain Pierre. As quickly as they came, the fillies left. His brain felt numb. Never had he felt so confused a day in his life. He was put in charge of 3 little girls he had just met. Had no experience with children whatsoever. His days in Equestria were becoming more unusual by the day. Pierre let out a sigh. He collapsed onto the sofa, determined to sleep the previous moment off. With Twilight, who remained quiet throughout the entire scenario, rolled her eyes and groaned at Pierre. Magical entities fell to his body, pulled him from the couch until he fell face first on the floor. Did you forget we have magic practice? Come on, let's go! She said sternly, earning a defeated sigh out of Pierre. He rolled over to his back and stared at Twilight. He was relatively quiet during the Crusader's attack and did nothing to help. Poked her huff, bringing her violet gaze down to meet his chocolate orbs. He was partially upset with his roommate. For some reason, probably the way her violet mane with the cute pink strand that fell between her beautiful eyes rested on her shoulders, he couldn't bear to hold her grudge. A pony should not be this cute. Seriously. He rolled his eyes. How could you let those girls talk to you join your group? We're roommates! Can't you save me from danger? He gasped in a mix of plea and sarcasm. Much to Twilight's surprise, Twilight's gaze softened. Because those girls are reckless. Huh? She gently placed her flank down and pushed herself over Pierre's body. I thought you ought to know how you acted with Rainbow Dash the other day. Her close curlingly smile. You didn't show off or fight fire with fire. You actually reasoned with her, and it worked. He looked away out of his embarrassment. It's no big deal. It is a big deal. Those girls are trying too hard to earn their cutie marks, but I think a level head like yours can lead them in the right direction. I'm not exactly role model material, Twilight. I've made more mistakes than most people. I mean, ponies should be allowed to. Honestly, you're putting way too much faith in me. You did with the dragon, and now you're doing it with these girls. Twilight bit her lip. The uptune tone in Pierre's voice laughed, transformed one of certainty. She reared her head down until her snout nearly touched Pierre's. Pierre, the spell I used was to bring the greatest hero of all time to Equestria. It chose you, and magic is incapable of making a mistake. You saved my friends' lives and brought newfound hope to Ponyville. She rolled her eyes and giggled. You taught sense into Rainbow Dash, something none of us have been able to do easily. But those aren't the only reasons I have faith in you. He sighed. Really? What other reason could there be? His eyes sits back up, just in time for this pink strand of Twilight's hair to press over her snout. Achoo! Their eyes were locked onto each other, but Peter felt a bit of warmth escaping Twilight's face. Thanks to their eye contact, Peter failed to see the large blush that filled the girl's cheeks. She looked away for a moment, but her smile grew with, It's because you're my friend, and friends should always have faith in each other. Her words were so simple, but Peter felt something fast behind them. Despite his failure to live up to her standard, Twilight's faith in him remained steadfast. It was not great, let alone the greatest of all, as Twilight described. Considering the high-caliber heroes leading you back home, Peter refused to accept that title. Well, if you come from the alternate universe... Despite his constant protests, Twilight spoke as she firmly believed it. Not because of the spell, but because she was his friend. It was laughable. Such a cliché saying was Dakota saying in the cartoons where they belong. Peter couldn't help but smile. Twilight believed her friend could stop the dragon, in Discord, in a number of weeks. So if she had that much faith in him, the least he could do was take care of 3 little girls for her. He tilted his head slightly, and nuzzled the tip of his nose against Twilight's, causing the girl's blush to intensify. He smiled innocently, unaware of his accents. Thanks, Twilight. I'll try not to let you down again. She shook her head madly. The temperature in her cheeks continued to heighten. She turned around, careful not to reveal her flushed features. She cleared her throat and made her way to the door. Saw Peter clear, still feeling to hide her blush. That's enough of that. Come on. We still need to practice, she said, finally allowing herself to smile once her back was facing him. Shrugging his shoulders to feet, Peter chuckled helplessly. Madness, thy name is Equestria. His thoughts ran while he forced himself back up. Being the leader of the Crusaders gave Peter the chance to come up with a catchphrase for his new team. Besides why when the idea came to mind. But he groaned inwardly, knowing it was too cheesy to pull off with a straight face. Nemus a Skulu wielding a magic hammer, Applebloom a suit of armor, a sleeve belt being an unusual shade of green, while Perrier carried a shield blazed through his mind. Crusaders, assemble! And so smacked his forehead. It was seriously than he imagined, but deep down he found it unusually cool. He rolled his eyes. He truly was losing his mind. Peter's jaw nearly hit the floor. He stared at the custom rarity Hilarious Hills with bewilderment in his eyes. While the design was similar, the changes were easy to spot. The spiral emblem on the back was much more slender, while red remained the dominant color in the costume as a whole. The amount of blue was increased thanks to the shortening of the arms and legs. Overall, the design itself was edgier, giving it a bit more serious look. Rarity clutched the costume tightly fitted in place. Peter's glare remained firm, only adding to Rarity's nervousness. Once he shifted his gaze in her direction, her heart threatened to leap out of her chest. Everything Rarity designed, she put her heart to, and Peter's costume was no exception. The idea of rejecting was an excruciating one, but her profession, it was to be expected. It only made Rarity more nervous considering what Peter had done for her. If he hated the design, she would have failed to repaint the debt she had owed him. Rarity, Peter said coolly, causing the unicorn to bite her lip. This costume, it's... Her defenses felt like a crumbling wall. She threw her hoof over her forehead and whined. You hate it, don't you? That's like I knew you would. She collapsed with her grip on her costume. It was a mistake for me to see anything. I saw just, but I like it. We stitched the way it used to be. She stayed prone on the ground, but as if her brain registered the words, Rarity glanced up at Peter with also blue orbs, white as saucers. What did you say, dear? Tried over to her side and smiled widely. I said I liked it, but I'm not saying I like it the way I want to. It's more like... He cleared his strong grin. Really like it. Do you really mean it? If you don't, you can tell me, she said hesitantly. Of course I mean it. I only wish you designed my costume in the first place. Pretty slick. Rarity's cheeks burned. It reminded her of the dresses she made for her friends not too long ago. Poured everything she had into them, being extremely thorough with each unique design. But there were dreadfully long sad days. She showed her friends the fruits of her labor, only besides they did not like their dresses. While the situation was later rectified, Rarity could not help but feel like she could have done better. Perhaps her perfectionist nature or sensitive heart that clouded her judgment, but she expected a similar response from Pierre, only to be shocked by a significant show of gratitude. How long did you stay up working on this? Peter said, concerned appearing in his voice. Rarity ready to respond, but a yawning escaped from her mouth instead. She brushed her mangled locks back and giggled nervously. I honestly lost track of time. I actually just used a couple of hours ago. Pierre's eyes softened. He walked over to Rarity. His heart sunk when he noticed the small bags underneath her large, gorgeous eyes. You pulled all-nighter? You didn't have to do that. A beautiful girl like you shouldn't have to lose sleep over me. He said a sad smile on his face. His thoughts were so kicked into his senses. Parker, must you insist on calling these ponies cute and beautiful? Her cheeks flushed a deeper shade of crimson. She turned around, knowing that she looked like an absolute mess. Carefully folded the costume up into a diamond shape. Using her magic, Rarity slid Pierre's costume into his backpack before handing him his possession. It was nothing at all, darling. Believe me. I'm just pleased to hear that you liked it, she said before she placed it over her mouth to stifle a yawn. Pierre gave the unicorn a smile masked only by the warmth of the sun. He gazed into the ground. I really appreciate this, Rarity. I couldn't ask for this kind of favor back home. I'm really happy to have met you. A desolate groan echoed inside his head. Seriously? Could you come off any easier? Her heart skipped a beat and flipped inside her chest. Rarity bit her lip, determined to maintain her professional demeanor. But the rising temperature in her cheeks made it difficult to focus. The best is all mine, Peter, she said, fully aware of how her voice had grown. Pierre, oblivious to Rarity's embarrassment, chuckled and slid his backpack over his shoulders. I better go. Hope he gets to sleep soon. As he steadily made his way out of the room, a late realization struck Rarity like a lightning bolt. Peter, wait! She stepped over to the mannequins and stood there and gazed at Pierre. I'm sure Twilight told you about the Grand Cafe Gala. He simply nodded. She did, but I don't think I'm really fit to go. Sounds really fancy, and I'm a bit too average for that. Rarity closed her eyes and huffed. That's preposterous. You are perfectly capable of attending. Besides, Princess Celestia has personally invited you. It would be rude of you to turn down her highness. But, nippets, she said sternly, causing Pierre to cringe slightly. Rarity's horn sparked, causing a roll of jet-black flower to hover over her head. I trust you'll be needing something formal to wear for the occasion. I assure you, I'll take you something that'll make you look, she beamed, marvelous. I appreciate Rarity, but you've really done more than enough. Leave me to my work, and I'll call you once I'm done. Even in this world, girls were astonishingly stubborn. Pierre watched Rarity stretch the fabric over her sewing table and smiled. She just stayed up the entire night fixing up his costume. Now was working on something for him to wear at the gala. It was still a week away. To make matters worse, Rarity asked for nothing in return from the guy she had just met a few days ago. Pierre sighed. Rarity was right to bear the element of generosity. Not wanting to bother her any more, Pierre opened the door and stepped outside. But he peeked back inside and offered a wide smile. I promise to pay you back, Rarity, he said before sadly looking away. I promise. The door closed behind her, and Rarity kept her gaze on the fabric, but her mind focused on a cold and desolate air bold. She resisted the urge to daydream, though the image of her handsome devil's smile played mercilessly throughout her mind. Rarity began to work on Pierre's suit. A playful thought brought up a distinct possibility, forcing Rarity to suppress a giggle. A close smile formed on her face. This keeper, I may find my Prince Charming after all. Pierre traveled with his gaze locked on the ground. It had been a week since he was pulled into Equestria, but he was adjusting far better than he anticipated. It's only because his newfound friends were so supportive. More than them, Pierre would have long since been overwhelmed by the vast amount of changes he was forced to take. Chagador's darkened, and while he honestly appreciated everything he had done for him, felt he was pulling his weight. Swell had provided housing and tutelage, but he gave nothing in return. Rarity made a new costume, but he couldn't give her a single cent for her trouble. Her continued to fill his eyes, reminding him 2 months of the days Aunt May struggled to support herself and Pierre after Uncle Ben had passed. Just like now, he did nothing to help. Images of the sweet elderly woman flashed across his mind. He only hoped Aunt May hadn't grown too worried about his sudden disappearance, but he mentally cringed, knowing that was certainly not going to be the case. Now his guilt truly took over. In Equestria, he only caused his friends grief, despite being a parallel universe. He still found a way to annoy his aunt. For such a great hero, I tend to do more damage than good. Only causes problems for Aunt May. I can't help dwelling on Rarity. His heart sank to a memory flushed it further into the depths of despair. I can't help anyone. Just like the time I couldn't help Pete. Peter's eyes widened at the sound of a woman's voice calling out to him. He turned and found a pair of emerald eyes staring at him intently. The golden hair on his head was bright. It's light of day, but it's only by the smile on her face. Pierre felt the hair leaving his chest, his body. Gwen? He said in a low hint of a whisper. No response was given right away. Her image cleared, revealing more of her distinct features like the snow-white freckles sprinkled across her cheeks. The beautiful shade of orange her coat displayed, the large hat flattering upon her crown. Pierre shook his head, mentally slapped himself with the realization the mistake is made. "Oh, Applejack!" he said solemnly, closing his eyes to hide his shame right after. "Real smooth, Parker. Calling a pony by your ex's name is just plain stupid. Even for you." Show of hands. Who thinks that this story would be improved immensely if Gwen did have a pony counterpart? I mean, I know this fic is going to end with Pierre and Twilight, but if truth be told, I kind of would prefer if we had a Gwen XP here. Could get some really good drama points out of this. It's a really good characterization. Oh well. Say it again. Pierre opened his eyes and found he was on the outskirts of Sweet Apple Acres. He placed his hoof over his eyes, growing in his ignorance. Though Ponyville was tiny compared to a city like New York, he still have had the wherewithal to pay a little attention to his surroundings and not walk past his home by a great distance. Ever since he arrived in Equestria, Pierre found himself drowning more into his sorrow by the day, despite the amount of positive energy his friends saw in his direction. It didn't help that a small part of him wanted to talk about demons in his life to his new friends. After all, they knew his secret identity, but they had a right to tell him about his greatest mistake, Uncle Ben, or Gwen Stacy. Pierre never felt compelled to talk to anyone about his problems back home, so he shouldn't start now. They were unforgivable crimes. He didn't want to lose his friends just yet. He shook his head. What was he even thinking about this? Something was slipping within him. What was it? Applejack noted the troubled look in Pierre's eyes and frowned. "You okay, partner? Something on your mind?" "Yeah, I'm just depressed over everything. Other than that, it's Tuesday." Pierre ignored his thoughts, sighing inwardly and forced out a smile. "Sorry about that, Auntie. You just caught me in the middle of a daydream." He lied, hoping she wouldn't find any deceit in his words. "What are you doing out here anyway?" His thoughts groaned. "Maybe because he lives here, Einstein." She better let the sign for her laughter. "I kinda live here, Pete." "Exactly my point." Applejack stood there and gazed at the range of apple trees scattered across the field behind the barn. "Just about to do my share of apple bugging for the day. Clay told me about that. Isn't that where you go around and kick the apples from the trees?" She nodded. "That's right. I'll need to bug a few trees so some fresh apples will grow in." Trouble leak in Pierre's eye returned. He turned away from Applejack, ready to make his way back home. "Don't let me tell you down, AJ." Before he could progress any further, the blonde stepped down in front of Pierre and held up her hoof defensively. "Now, hold on. You're not slowing me down one bit." She closed the distance between herself and Pierre until her face was only a few inches away from his. "Something's obviously got you riled. How about we talk it over while I take care of business? Heck, you can even help me. That'll help you blow off some steam." Pierre furrowed his brow. Was it painful obviously he was a bit bummed out? Or was Applejack's keen intuition? In either case, with Twilight Rarity still on his mind, Pierre couldn't shake his guilt. He took a step forward and prayed Applejack would move out of the way. But she held her position firmly, like an oak standing in a storm wind. Her emerald eyes softened before her lips curled in a sad smile. "Please?" she said sadly, yet gently. Pierre's nerves slipped from his grasp. The genuine care of voice compared with the indomitable will and left his feelings astray. It's familiar in so many ways. Suddenly Applejack's face faded. He was humanized for a moment, causing Pierre's stomach to tie itself in a knot. Golden locks, emerald orbs, warm smile were reminiscent of his first true love, Gwen Stacy. His eyes shot open before Pierre shook his head madly, forcing the illusion from his mind. He glanced back at Applejack, whose image had returned to normal. Placed his hoof over her forehead. Something was not right. But he couldn't talk to Applejack about it. No, he couldn't talk to any pony about it. He reached out, and until his hoof fell on Applejack's shoulder, bringing a concerned gaze from me as apologetic one. "I'm sorry, AJ." She before gently pushed the pony aside and ran off in the direction of a free forest. "Please, wait!" Applejack called out to no avail, as his image disappeared into the darkness of the forest. Concern in her eyes continued to grow. "What's going on with you, partner?" "That was beyond stupid! How could I run off like that? Seriously, how could you?" "Seriously, this stuff always bugged me out before. Why am I having such a hard time keeping you under wraps here? This doesn't make any sense. Well, nothing nowadays makes any sense. The sun's light struggled to pierce through the leaves of the trees, but managed to provide enough to allow Pete to see where he was going. After several moments of running, Peter finally stopped somewhere in the midst of the dank forest, where a small lake rested. His eyes drifted as he found a place to sit alongside a tree. Even in a peaceful world, he found himself in ways to cause trouble for himself and those around him. Perhaps it was just him being homesick that caused him to act this way, but that seemed highly unlikely. He placed himself in front of his face and sighed. Felt these feelings of insecurity were pouring out on their own, like a crack in a dam waiting to give in to pressure. Whatever the case, it was too much to deal with at the moment. He noticed his movements out of the corner of his eyes in the bushes across the lake. Polly stepped through the lens, while several large gold rings on her ears and neck. Her white gray mane was reminiscent of that of a mohawk. Master's striped white and dark gray coat. Pierre tilted his head to the side and realized he wasn't a pony. A zebra! He said before his eyes shot open. Blaring alarm went off inside his head, causing him to leap back up. Spartacus! But what could... Suddenly, something erupted from the depths of the lake. Pierre stumbled behind a tree, but when he piked up, his shot nearly struck the floor while a gigantic beast with 4 separate heads roaring at the zebra. A hydra. Seriously? A hydra? I can take dragons and ponies, but I put my foot down on hydras! The zebra ran off in the wilderness, but the hydra followed, knocking over trees and whatever else stood in his way. He let out his clawed hand, but the zebra swayed to the side, causing the hydra to streak a boulder instead. However, it only delayed the inevitable once he ran into a corner. Trapped between a cliff and a hydra, all 4 heads of the beast smirked when he consisted of one, only looked around aimlessly. They reared back, ready to strike the zebra down, but a being clad in red and blue jumped in the trees, kicked the hydra's clueless head, landed in front of the zebra, her turquoise orange wildly in sun garden pulling. And he glanced back and chuckled. Pardon me, ma'am, but you look like you could use some assistance of the Spider-Man variety.